I don't know which one's the headliner. All right. It's going to be close, but
it's almost
49ers and Cardinals. Brandon, talk to me, man. What's your score prediction? 49ers versus the Cardinals, brother.
I called your 49er team throughout this year, the zombie team that just seems to find a way every single week despite the injury. But I got to feel like, Jesse, that this last week with Mykel Williams going down, not that he was this super impactful part to the defense, but just felt like that was the final kind of blow to knock your guys off the path. And understandably so. I think a lot of other defenses would have been flailing far before this point to how they've played there. So it's a testament to Shanahan, your defense, Saleh, that you guys have been able to hold the line. But the Cardinals are just not going to be quite in as bad of injury shape. I'm guessing you're going to cornerback or two. Wilson's probably coming back into the flow in this game. And I think that they're going to be able to do just enough because Brissett's not playing bad. He was under a lot of pressure in this last game. Yeah, he is a statue in the pocket, but the guy stands back there and he lets it rip. And I think he knows how to use Marvin. And Marvin didn't have a lot of efficiency. I think some of that was the tight coverage in this game that I don't think you're going to get an equivalency to in this matchup. So I do feel like where the Cardinals are at, that they're going to be able to get the job done, but it's as much of that I don't just have faith in where your Niner team is from a health standpoint, as much as I think it's as good as the Cardinals are. I think they're in just a little bit of a better health. I think they're playing at just about a almost equivalent level, maybe a slight bit better to a little bit, but I measure all that up and I go, the injuries are the great equalizer here. You guys have just had too many. Cardinals are going to be able to make this go. So I'm going to give it to the Cardinals 21-17.
First of all, Brock Purdy and Ricky Pearsall are back. Is that not enough to push us over the top?
Come on. I got to change. Pretty Ricky back in the house. That changes everything.
Yeah. All right. Oh, God, I don't believe you. Thanks. Jake, give me your score prediction. 49ers versus the Cardinals. This one's in AZ. Tell me how this one goes in your opinion.
All right. Who's starting at quarterback?
It's going to be Brock. I think I'm pretty. I know I've said this. He's full participant in practice this week from what Shanahan says. Ricky Pearsall also magically healthy as soon as Brock comes back. Way to stack the deck there. Yeah, man, that's what it looks like.
Wow. It would be funny if the Ayuk came back at the same time as Ricky.
Right. Yeah, Ayuk is not playing,
Brock
but yes.
At the same time.
2,100 yards, 13 touchdowns, 6 picks. He's a 97.4 passer rating, and they're they're playing Brock Purdy.
Dude, he's the franchise quarterback, bro. You got to play him.
I don't think they think they can get out from under that contract. So they're trying to salvage the situation.
Oh my God. Okay. So let's just say they're smart and they play Mac Jones just for the start of this, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give the 49ers the win if they play Mac Jones. I'm going to say they win 20-17. If they play Brock Purdy, I'm going to say Arizona wins 27-17.
Holy crap. Listen, if
interesting.
If Brock Purdy plays and they lose, that's a disaster. Listen, I'm going to speak real quick from the 49ers side of the house, Mike, and then I'll let you go.
Yep.
This game is the most important game of the season for the 49ers. The most important game of the season. Right now, the 49ers are 2 back in the loss column to both Seattle and the Rams. If the 49ers lose this game, they're going to be 3 back of one of those teams. So the division already is probably out of their grasp, but it's certainly out of their grasp then. They're already the 8th seed going into this. All of a sudden you lose that game. That puts you behind the 8 ball. You've got a very, very tough final 3 games. And you tried to give Brock Purdy a soft landing against the Arizona Cardinals. You avoided all the great teams leading up to this, all the great defenses. You wait till Ricky Pearsall's back. You let him be fully healthy, even though he could have played this week, according to Shanahan. They just decided not to play him to give him that extra week. If he comes back with Pearsall and they lose this game, it's an absolute shit show. So the 49ers cannot lose this game. I expect that they're going to play with that urgency. I do think it's going to be close. I'm going to go 23-20 Niners, but man, I could see this one going the other way. I do have a question for you, Mike. I saw a couple guys that are young, early draft picks. I saw Robinson. Obviously, we saw a couple injuries there on the defensive line. What does the injury look like along the defensive line? And then what is it in the secondary? What's this defense look like coming into this one?
So the way that the Cardinals do things is they usually have like meetings on Monday. Tuesday, there's not really much information, but they're actually on the grass by Wednesday. So we're going to know a little bit more tomorrow when they're actually on there. Jonathan Gannon did come out on Monday and basically say that there was a couple people placed in IR. Or I'm sorry, person placed in IR, and it's Zay Jones, wide receiver, and then Simi Fehoko, another wide receiver that a lot of people don't really know too much about. But the other guys are basically, they're just going to wait as the week goes along. So it looks promising, but we're not really going to know until maybe Wednesday or maybe even Thursday in terms of like if they're limited, if they're full participant. But I don't think D-Rob finished the game. So, we're going to be keeping our eyes on that. But like when you have those high caliber, I guess, first round picks, you don't really want to, especially if they're hurt, you're not going to throw them out there when you're getting beat down by the Seahawks. So they should probably pull them. But yeah, we're going to know a little bit more about tomorrow. But for this game, I honestly don't even know what I want, to be real. I don't know if I want the Cardinals to win this game. I think the Cardinals are more than capable. I think the Cardinals can win this game, whether it's Mac Jones or Brock Purdy, if I'm going to be real with you. I think the Cardinals were able to stay toe-to-toe with all these teams with the exception of the Seattle Seahawks. And I will say both times, like even like the Cardinals only really kind of got going in the fourth quarter, and it might have been just because they were playing softer. But I think the Cardinals are able to hang with a lot of these teams so far that we played with or played against. I don't know. This game is going to be so tricky. I mentioned this before. Division games is so hard to predict. And the factor of Brock Purdy or Mac Jones, I do believe, because the losses are starting to quote unquote stack up, and Brock Purdy is healthy. This probably might be the game because, like you said, they're going to try to soft land them into to play against a team that only has 3 wins. But they're a good team. The Cardinals are a good team, just not as good as the Seahawks, obviously. This game right here, I can see definitely 27-20. I think there's going to be some points put up on the board. I don't think the defense are going to be able to stop that much. There are going to be some defensive plays. But I would actually say if Purdy plays, I think he's going to have himself a game. And I know I'm going to probably go against the grain here. But I do believe it's going to be the same thing with Mac Jones as well. 27-20. I'm going to say Niners 27-20.
Oh, okay. Walter Nolan, it does sound like is going to play, though. It does sound like his injury was pretty minor, so that's good. I want to see Walter Nolan play. I was a Walter Nolan guy, so I hope he's able to play. And we'll see how it goes. I think this is going to be a fun game, though. I really do. I think that this one really could go either way. I'm definitely looking forward to it for sure. All right, let's get to the championship fight ahead of us, man. This one is good, and I have to ask, Brandon. Again, it's Tuesday. This is tough to do. Just like Mike, what do you think the injury report looks like for Seattle? Who do you think is definitely out going into Sunday's game, based off of what you know? I got to know this before I make this pick here.
It looks like we are going to get Ernest based off of a GIF of a tweet. You guys always a guy like when you're trying to, analyze a guy off what he's doing off a GIF off a tweet. But he did the old rap one where the guy's being brought back to life and he comes back up, So I guess that's an indicator that Ernest is indeed going to be playing this week, which is very big because, he's going to be motivated against his former team to go out there and really show out. As far as any other injuries go, Seattle's in pretty good shape aside from maybe just 2 situations. Jaron Reed, rotational defensive lineman, is going to be out of this game. You are going to probably still potentially be down Julian Love, but it's up in the air. I think he can come off IR technically right now because they retroactively did that. So the deal with that, though, is Tyakata has been able to play right there with where Julian Love's at as far as his performance goes. So you haven't really seen the drop off between the two. In fact, I think Ty's right now a top 7 rated safety in the sport by PFF. Wow. Not that that's the end all be all, but that's just a representation of how good he's playing. So you're actually in really good shape, defensively speaking, coming into this one. And then offensively, yeah, you're going to be down Sundell, but Oluwatimi and Sundell are pretty close to each other performative-wise. Sundell's more of a mobility guy. Oluwatimi's more of a hunker down and root up guy in the center position between the two. So they're just different skill sets, but equivalent in what they give you performance, which is pretty, they're like 24th ranked center in the sport. Like they're both in that area regardless. So everybody's pretty much ready to roll.
They're both better than Jake Brendel is really what you're trying to say.
I mean, I don't know. That's a coin. We need a 3-sided coin flip on that one, man. That's hard to say. Hard to say when you're picking through the dregs on stuff a little bit. Horton should be back into the flux on this though. So he was out last week, but he should be in the mix. So, I mean, really, relatively speaking, we're pretty good health-wise. Maybe a guy here, maybe a guy there, but certainly not held back from a matchup standpoint because we're deficient in some area because of injury.
All right, Jake, talk to me. What does it look like for the Rams?
Yeah, really, they're about as healthy as you can be right now. Devontae Adams got nicked up a little bit with the oblique. They kept him out because, well, they were giving belt to ass to the 49ers, so they didn't need him.
All right, calm down.
But, yeah, there it is. Yep. But no, Tutu Atwell's still out. He's on IR. He can't come back until November 30th, so he's out for this game. McKellar Witherspoon, IR window will open up, I think, next week. So he's out for this game. Everyone else should be playing. So,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Mike, we got the information we needed, brother. I'm going to let you go first on this one. Who wins? Seahawks or Rams?
This is what actually everybody's here for. Ain't nobody care about 49ers and Cardinals
Hey,
on
I
this
care.
calendar.
Okay, I care, Mike.
Listen,
I care.
Do you?
He's like, come on, Niners, you're in with me in this boat. You're in this boat. Come
I'm
on.
bringing everybody down.
No,
Come
I'm
on.
not.
All right.
I'm in playoff contention. I got mathematical possibilities.
This is a tough one, man. This is a tough one to pick. I seen the Seahawks. Their defense looks legit. Same thing goes for the Rams as well. I think you got two heavyweights going against each other at the top of the NFC West. This is the best of the best. This is what you want to see on Sunday. This is going to be a very good game. I'm going to lean on over to the Rams. I'm going to do it just because Matthew Stafford. And I'm not trying to bag on Sam Darnold. He only threw 12 times, but like that's all he needed. He didn't need to do very much. He literally beat us down this last weekend. I'm going to go with the Rams because Matthew Stafford is playing out of his mind. MVP, Kyron's looking good. And Devontae Adams, that was a big question mark, 3-4 weeks ago. And now they're kind of seeming to get that chemistry down. So that team is a very, very well-oiled machine. I'm going to say it's going to be a fun one. So fantasy owners, get ready. 35-31 Rams.
I still don't know who I'm going to pick. I'm going to try to talk myself through this and figure out who the hell I'm going to go with. Okay, here's what I see. I think both teams are going to score early touchdowns, and then the defenses are going to start to hold for a couple quarters. Then we're going to get probably midway through the fourth quarter, and we're going to see like back and forth scoring until this thing ends. Stafford obviously is the best quarterback in the NFC. I like that. I like that the Rams are at home. But I got to be honest, I like Seattle's defense a little bit more right now than I do the Rams. And maybe that's, a little bit of bias from just the two games against the 49ers. There's something missing with that Rams defense, and that Seattle's defense is humming. And then I know that it looked good this week. I know the operation looked good, but they weren't really forced to do a lot other than kick some extra points against the 49ers. If it comes down to a kick with a new operation, can they get it done? Right now, I trust Seattle's special teams a little bit more. So I'm going to go 27-24 Seahawks on the road to win this one in a tight one. I'm going to say the Rams have a chance to kick a field goal at the end and tie it, and they blow it, and that's the difference.
Damn.
Yeah. Brandon, I'm going to let you go first on this one. We are split, Mike and I. I'm assuming you're going to go Seahawks. I'm assuming Jake's going to go Rams, but I want to see why. Talk to me, Brandon. Why do the Seahawks get it done, and what's your score prediction?
The Rams have been able to operate this season as well as any team in the sport with 13 personnel. They'll utilize 12 personnel as well, much like the Seahawks. There's a lot of mirroring between these two teams and how they go about their business a little bit. Under center, a lot of play action. Stafford's been the number one play action guy in the sport, percentage-wise, on how much they just purely run it, and they're certainly effective at it. I think the Hawks have an ability, though, to match up in base in a way that other defenses can't, because so many other defenses are built for nickel. Seattle's got a nickel-based defense, and now it's built a little bit, but a Nicky Manwari can quickly turn into a linebacker type. In fact, he's taken will linebacker snaps. So we're able to kind of match size for size within that. I think this is going to be a close game that goes down the line, though. I think it is a bit of a tit for tat and back and forth, and eventually offense ends up kind of superseding a little bit of the defense on this. And it's really a coin flip game for me on this. Jesse, you chose a score of 27-24, which was literally my record prediction with Jake earlier when we did our collab here. So that is where my score is at. Is there a lot of confidence? Like you were kind of waffling back and forth. I think you sense that these teams are so very even across the board. Great offenses, great defenses, that it's really going to come down to the wire, and it's kind of a pick 'em kind of game at the end of it. I think you mentioning special teams is a big part of this, though. Seattle Seahawks have the number one DVOA special teams in the entire sport. The Rams have had some struggles on special teams. Your Niners had a nice punt return against them last week. They've had their issues in the kicking game. In a tight game like this, the better special teams unit can end up winning out over the top of it when it comes down to being that close. I think this actually comes down to two specific things, though, that are separate from then just the best quarterback wins this or not. I think both these quarterbacks play well. I think this comes down to the two main factors that what will determine this win is who can win the turnover battle and who can run the ball. If you got a team that can get both of those two things in their hip pocket, they're going to win. If it's split, flip the coin, it could go either way. But I think if you can win the turnover battle and you could run the ball, that is a pathway against this Rams team and against my Seahawks team to get in the victory, because you're controlling the clock, you're getting into third makeable situations, you're protecting the ball. And I think at that point, that's going to be enough to win the day. But this is going to be an even game that goes right down to the line, I think.
Listen, you can call me a lot of things, but saying I'm not objective, you definitely cannot do. I hate the Seattle Seahawks. Everybody on here knows it. And Seahawks fans love that I just picked Seattle right now. They cannot believe it. They're beside themselves. Jake, I feel like, is a little beside himself. I'm still picking the Rams to go to the Super Bowl, but in this particular game, man, I do have the Seahawks. Jake, talk to me. How do your Rams get it done, and what's your score prediction?
Yeah, I cannot believe this isn't in prime time. I just can't. These are the two best teams in the league. I was early on it, but I wasn't wrong. So this is what we're going to say. The Rams right now are 15 of 16 in the red zone. Okay, they're the best red zone team the last 3 games. They've completely fixed their red zone offense. The tight ends, the usage that they're doing in the 13 personnel, Seattle gives up the 5th most to tight ends in the league. And so I feel like that really does lean towards the Rams. I think at home leads towards the Rams. Stafford being 5-0 against Seattle leans towards the Rams. Last time these two played was in, well, not backups, but last time these two played in Seattle, it came down to overtime. And honestly, Seattle should have won that game. They were at the goal line and they went for it on 4th down. They got stopped. And the Rams went down the field and, Stafford threw a bomb to Demarcus Robinson, and that was all she wrote. It was over Reek Woolen. Well, Reek Woolen's playing well, so we'll see, what he does in this game. But I feel really good about the Rams right now. I think they're going to lose in Seattle, but I don't think they're going to lose now that they're back at SoFi. I just don't see that. So give me the Rams 33-30. I just think the red zone offense being unleashed kind of negates the kicking operation to a degree, because Jesse, you had said, they were just kicking extra points. Well, that's all the Rams have been doing lately. So if that's all they have to do, then it won't be that big of an issue. The pass rush of the Seahawks is dominant, but Stafford gets rid of the ball so quickly. I think you can get a couple of those moments where, if you have those sacks, you got to make them count. You have to force some fumbles and what have you. But you're only going to get a few shots at that. And I just think right now, Seattle is very predicated on winning with the explosive game. And the Rams are top 5 in the league and, fewest explosives allowed in the secondary. I think this is the same secondary that got a lot of chuckles when I said, this is the best safety room in the league. And this is the best, this is the best cornerback room, or rather secondary in the division. Got a lot of laughs, but they've been playing very well. Emmanuel Forbes is playing his, heart out. Kobe Durant, Quentin Lake, Darius Williams, all of them. So I think the Rams are going to win this 133-30. I do think they are going to kick a field goal and they are going to win this game, but we'll see. I have a lot of respect for Seattle. I think they are 100% legit. And this game is going to go a long way in deciding who wins this division.
Heard of them. All right, guys, listen, let's hit some sleeper picks real quick. And for the sake of time, I went ahead and made these picks pre-show. $10 to win 85. Promo code RTS. Link is pinned to the top of the description. Get a 100% deposit match of up to $100 when you use promo code RTS. And if you use promo code RTS, you get a free $20 play without even making a deposit. Today's picks are such. We got Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. If he gets any stat, a point, a rebound, or an assist, we win. I've got Devon A-Chain at over on the or more on the anytime TD. He went absolutely crazy last week. Washington has Allen suspended. That team's in shambles. So yes, A-Chain will score. I got Kyron Williams. He may be 3 yards in a cloud of dust, but he's also going to get in the end zone. I'll give him on the more on the anytime TD. And then Jalen Waddle, the only receiver in town for the Dolphins, 5.5 receptions against a banged-up Washington secondary. Give me that. That is 10 to win 85-80. You can tail, you can fade, but either way, make sure you use promo code RTS.